Trying to find great candidates to hire is like trying to find a needle in the haystack. There's so many applications and not enough qualified candidates with the right skills and experience. But not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter's smart technology identifies top talent for you and your roles quickly. Immediately after you post your job on ZipRecruiter, their powerful matching technology starts showing you people that are qualified to work for your organization. You can use ZipRecruiter's invite to apply message to personally reach out to your favorite candidates and encourage them to apply sooner rather than later. Ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/work. Again, that's ziprecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another elite episode of the Get Authentic with Marques show. I'm your host, Marques Ogden. On today's episode, we are joined with Mr. Chris Tripoli. And you know what? Let's bring him on down. How you doing today, Chris?
Hi, Marcus. I'm doing fine. Fine. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, my friend. First question, Chris. What does the word authentic/authenticity mean to you?
Well, it means being real. Authentic in my world means simple, direct, and real. No frills, but basic and consistent. My world has been hospitality all my life, and so that's how we would look at it. Is that when you really have authenticity, if you're delivering a hospitable experience, it's consistent, it's direct, it's friendly, and easily understood.
You know, Chris, what's very interesting, my friend, I tell people that excel at excellent customer experience are the people that are always busy in business. And I say, okay, they say, Mark's customer service, that's great. I said, no, no, no. I did not say customer service. That's important too. I said customer experience. So what's the difference? Customer experience is from the beginning of the sales process all the way through and after fact, even just being pleasant, being someone that delivers excellence, and you're somebody that's always going to do what you know you need to do to make the clients feel appreciated and valued. And a lot of people have to understand excellent customer experience is something that you have to really train yourself to do because it's not just, okay, here we go, and you get somebody in the sale, you're out the door, and you're gone, you never talk to them again. It's being there for that person throughout the entire process, even after the sale's done. And then I tell people if something goes wrong with the product and you need to fix it, that's customer service. But customer experience is just being that individual they can count on throughout the entire process. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. The customer experience is the totality of from beginning to end, and as you said, even beyond. So, creating an experience. Now, we define customer service as the ability of delivering. It's the act of delivering the experience. In hospitality today, it's amazing that surveys are showing that post-COVID, people going out, whether it's traveling, whether it's staying in hotels, whether it's dining in their favorite neighborhood restaurant, are really valuing the experience more. the socialization, the people with people. They're appreciating people serving people, eyeball to eyeball, pleasantry, appreciation. These are things that are more valued now. And so we're teaching our restaurant clients that you have to remember that people are being judged now, not just on a singular item like service or quality or cleanliness, but people are determining value based on the experience. Was this worth my time? And then that means maybe I will come back or maybe I won't. So I think the way you're telling people about creating that guest experience in whatever it is you're doing is extremely important, probably today more than ever.
Chris, love that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the great benefits and joys that we have of interviewing people like Chris. It's getting insight. And as a speaker, that's why we start our whole brand, right, Chris? It's just great because it gives us more content, more information from the experts or the people that have such great knowledge and or wisdom and years of experience in their field. We get to talk to them and have them shed light on great topics to help you that are listening. And I'm going to be a little selfish. I'm glad it helps me too. So, again, this is outstanding. Chris, tell us more about yourself and the work you're doing right now.
Well, I am a lifer in the hospitality industry. I've been working in restaurants since I was 15. I managed them. I was fortunate enough to own my own businesses for years where I was able to create, expand, and sell restaurants. I did restaurant development for other people. As a consultant for 24 years before I sold that company. And what I'm currently doing is I'm a principal in the group called the Restaurant Clinic, small group headed up by my brother. And we do leadership development for people who are in small to medium sized restaurant businesses, helping them develop their team for growth, helping them turn managers into actual leaders. And so there's a tremendous amount of instruction we're doing. It's a lot of fun. And that's what we're doing. That along with web-based education. I'm very active creating content for restaurantowner.com. That's a very large website, has many subscribers that are small independent restaurant operators looking for information and education. So I create content, I do webinars, and I host their podcast called Corner Booth, where we share stories of small restaurant entrepreneurs who are willing to share what went right, what went wrong, how they grow, how it works. So those are all the things that I'm doing now.
This is fantastic, ladies and gentlemen, because Chris is really highlighting all that he's doing in a great industry of the restaurant business. And I can tell you right now, I know a lot of people who thought they could just open a restaurant, they could put a name on a door, they could smile at people, and they could become the next big shot in their city, big shot in the world or in the country, all this type of stuff that didn't make it because there's a lot that goes into the restaurant business. Now, I'd be a fool to say that I know what that is because I'm not going to do that. But Chris does. So, Chris, talk to us about, let's start first. What do some of the more successful restaurants or restaurant owners do that make them so successful with their respective restaurant businesses?
God, great question. The people who are successful in this business come from all different directions. Some come to the business from a strong culinary background. Some don't. Some surround themselves with good culinary people to run their food program because they come into the business more from a financial background. Some are very good people, so they understand the front side and the development of a brand and marketing. So successful people would tell you that the first thing that keeps them successful is their people. They've built a team. There is no such thing as one person in the restaurant business being good at all of it. You're not good with numbers and good with people and also good with food and good with systems. So successful people build a team. They're smart enough to know what they don't know. And so these chef-led restaurants are very popular today. But what I love about them is when you talk with them, they know that they're the name, they know that they're the food, but they quickly talk about the two or three people that are their operating partners that support them, manage the systems, manage the business, manage the money, hire and fire, understand the rules, and can run the day-to-day business. So I think that's rule number number one is build the team. Rule number two would be maintain consistency, because to avoid flame out, which goes to that point that you made, so many people are interested in running into our business, putting their name on the door, hoping to be busy, be the next big thing. Sometimes they do it for a little while, but to avoid that flame out, they need to be able to create systems so that whatever it is they're doing, they can do consistently. Consistent service, consistent quality, portion, presentation, ambiance. If you do it well on a Tuesday night, you got to do it well again on a Thursday lunch. If not, customers don't come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do we talk about? There's two magic factors in your success: consistency and you. Consistency and you. You have to be the individual that shows up, right? You have to be. And if you don't show up and you don't give your best every single day, right? Especially in a business where so many people can go find the next restaurant right down the street, it's not going to get you where you want to go. So you got to focus on the consistency. Now, Chris, what do you see in restaurants that unfortunately do not make it? What are some things that they do or don't do that causes, unfortunately, their demise?
Well, let's see. We'll start with the first thing that sometimes people do, and that is they do too much. It's a confusing concept because they do things that they themselves like. This is a mortal sin in the restaurant business, is to look at yourself as the customer, because you may not be. You're the owner, so you're the final decision maker. You're the guy that has to sign the check, but you're not really the boss. The boss is that customer profile, the person that you're trying to entertain. And so if you try to do too much because you're doing all the things that you like, this is some food I like. This is the way I like things to look. This is entertainment I like. This is the lighting that I like. And before you know it, you're creating something that may not be well focused. And customers don't know how to use you. They'll come in and they don't know, does this fit as a lunch place? Is this a special occasion place? Is this a date night place? If you're trying to be a little bit of everything, what you're going to turn out to be is a lot of nothing. So that's something that we do. Now, something that we don't do a lot of is preparation. A lot of times people fail because they're not totally prepared. This is not a business that you need to be, say, scared of, but it is a business that you need to be prepared for. So, going back to the earlier point, building that team, and then making sure that you're planning for, the unnecessary things that could just perhaps happen. So that means we've got a budget, we've got a schedule, and we've got to make sure that we stay focused on a timeline before we open. We've got to make sure that we maintain working capital. These are the things that I've seen a lot of people who fail that they didn't do.
Ladies and gentlemen, it comes back to you have to be prepared when you embark on your journey. If you're not prepared, if you're not in a position to actually understand how things could go from every aspect, good, bad, all these different things, you're not really being real with yourself or being realistic with yourself. And
Mhm.
so this is really interesting. So let's talk about team, right, Chris? You know, I heard you mention the head chef, which is absolutely critical in any restaurant business. But for people that are listening, that are thinking of entering into the restaurant business, what would you say are some things that they really need to have to make up their team, other than, of course, a great head chef?
Right. Right. And that's a really good point, because there's a lot of tremendously successful restaurant concepts out there that have great brand recognition, that have expanded. They're not necessarily chef driven concepts. Now, they still have a tremendous culinary team, but what everyone needs to realize is that you're building other members of the team. So start with, of course, product and how you're going to manage the product: kitchen managers, chef, etc. But the other leaders of the team, the people that are going to help you operate the business, have to be strong with service, customer understanding. Uh, they have to be strong in the understanding of numbers, so that this is your management team. And you'll be front of the house management and what we call the back of the house management. It could be just a small team of 2 or 3 people, depending upon the concept and the degree of difficulty and the hours of operation. Or if you're a very large, full service restaurant, bar, catering, private dining rooms, you might have a management team of 6 or 7 people to manage the daytime, the nighttime, the front of the house, the back of the house. So that's one level is a management team, back of the house, front of the house. But your staff is extremely important because if you've got a happy, well prepared, good working staff, you're more than likely going to have a happy, well satisfied guest. If you don't have a very well prepared, well directed, and happy staff, they're the ones that are in the front lines. So that means you're probably going to have inconsistent service and an unhappy guest. So that's a really, really strong member of the team. We liken it to going to battle every day. Sure, you can have a well planned attack and you can have the generals in the tent, like your managers, planning the attack. But if you don't have the infantry that is well understanding and charging the hill and happy to do it and doing a great job, there's your staff. Then you're missing the most important element of your team.
I love this. So, Chris, let's talk more about your organization, the group you're part of. You know, how can people or what can people expect to gain from working with y'all? Because here's a couple things, right, Chris? I tell people all the time, I tell our clients, you have to identify your why, which will then help you to identify your who, right? So let's start there, okay, Chris?
Yeah.
Tell our global audience why you and your brother started this business. What was the why behind this awesome concept and awesome brand that you all decided to create?
Great question. Thank you. Yeah, the restaurant clinic was developed to answer the why of the missing elements. Why are there missing elements in getting what ownership wants to what ownership then gets? How do we help them connect what it is they want to do and getting it done better? Most of the people that would reach out to us are saying, we're in the business, we have a few units, we think we know what we're doing, but we need to be doing it better. We say, why? Why do you need to do it better? Is it numbers that aren't in line? Is it staff you're not able to retain? Is it product that you're not able to stay seasonally, correct on? So helping you understand why you're in the situation you're in to improve your operations is the first thing we do. Then we come up with the very simple how to improve. Many times it's working with the team to get them square on expectations, responsibilities, cooperation. Then a lot of times red flags are raised where they just need additional development, tools, and training in order to do what they understand they're responsible for better. And helping people just do things better means that they're going to stay longer, numbers will get tighter, margins will get better, retention increases, the team starts working. That's sort of the number one thing we work with, is helping people understand why they're in the situation they're in, because they reach out because they raise their hand saying, I might need some help. And then we help them come up with a very simple step-by-step plan of how to implement the way to improve their operations or plan their growth.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the why behind why Chris and his brother started their business. You heard the how and how they go about actually serving their clients in their business. And you heard the who. It's restaurant owners who are trying to figure out ways to improve their operations, to improve their business. And I love this. Let's talk about operations, okay? Chris, I tell people things like operations are going to include things like having a clear idea of your customer profile,
Mhm.
marketing optimization and processes, leveraging technology, learning how to be good at sales and or training others, having a CRM to nurture leads and keep people in your business where they know that you care about them beyond just the sale, and data, how to really track and analyze the data, all these type of things, which is so important. Can you talk about how you all help your clients optimize their operations, make it better so that they can start to excel at things like leveraging technology, understand who their customer profile is, better marketing tactics, so on and so forth?
Yes, absolutely. We start with a formula because people ask us that all the time. Is there a way to help me understand my system, improve procedures, understand my customer better, get more customers? And so the one thing we've learned over the years is although the restaurants are come in different sizes, different places, we work all over the nation, large restaurants, small restaurants, multiple unit, mom and dad owned restaurants. But the one thing we have found that is true is there is a formula to follow, and that's what we try to do. And that is start with people and then add the product and everything about the product system, the purveyors, the portions, the preparation, the consistency, the product, and then add your processes and procedures, how you're currently operating. If you can improve in people handling, your product, and your process and procedures, you can equal an increase in profitability. So those are the three P's that are needed. And that's kind of the way we operate. So people would include understanding the customer. And it's incredible the amount of time we sit, focus group with the staff that have been there for a while or the managers and talk about what is your customer like? How often do they come in? What's the per person expenditure? How much do you expect your customer to spend? How often are they coming? Large groups, small groups, more female, more male, young, old, families, not families. And a lot of times people stumble. They say, well, we're a restaurant for everybody. We serve everybody, which means they don't understand the customer. And we've got to help them understand how this concept of theirs is directed towards the market. Fast casual, convenience, date night, family, special occasion. The more they understand about the customer, then the more we're going to be able to better operate, menu to that customer, and market to that customer. Many times people are ready for growth. So the good news is that means they've been around, customers understand their brand, they're profitable. That's the good news. The not so good news is they're not really ready to formulate a plan that maximizes that. They need a strategy and to find it a way of adding more units or maybe adding more things within their unit to maximize their sales. So again, we go, let's go to the customer. What is the customer needing from us? Because maybe we should be branching into catering. Maybe we should do better with uh, carside pickup, delivery. What are the things we can do to maximize our revenue based on the customers who already know and like us? So, a strategy for expansion for revenue building normally includes a really good marketing program. Too many small growing restaurant companies don't really understand that marketing doesn't mean advertising. Marketing means managing the brand and building value in that brand in the customer's eyes. It doesn't just mean throwing a bunch of ads and let's get a bigger billboard and let's have the radio program because we like the guy. And so a lot of times we have to correct that. And many times we bring in the people that we network with, the marketing specialists that specialize just in restaurants. Much like other industries, and I'm sure you've come across, there are specialists out there. And so in hospitality, we have found that if you're ready to expand, there are real estate people who understand restaurants. There are finance people who understand restaurants. There's marketing people, again, who understand restaurants. When we're looking to place leaders, we've even found recruitment companies who specialize just in restaurants. So those are some of the sources that we bring in depending upon the needs of our clients.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has just been a fantastic interview because here's the thing, right? Chris has talked about so many awesome points from operations and business and getting the right team and making sure that you have people that are in the back of the house, the front of the house, that are running and operating in the business sense in a very professional fashion, understanding your customer, like the date night restaurant, special occasion, family, is it more private events, right? And again, Chris said it best. I always know I can work with anybody, but I also know who I connect better with and who I resonate better with because I can speak their language. Construction companies from my background in construction. Finance comes from my background having a finance degree. Insurance, working in that space for a while under, under corporations. Real estate, because I did a lot of things with real estate with my construction. Mortgages, because I understand how you have to borrow money to get real estate, to get assets, to grow and grow your net worth and your financial base. So these are all very exciting things, all fantastic things. And again, we're really about helping you all that are listening, and we're so grateful for all you listeners. We want to give you information that will help you. So again, as you heard Chris say, a couple of things, I'll recap this great interview. Really be focused and targeted and understand what it is that your potential client needs to know from you to trust you, to want to work with you, and to what? Eventually do business with you. Chris, how can people connect with you if they want to find out more information, if they're in the restaurant business and they want some help and assistance?
Thank you. Yes, please go to therestaurantclinic.com. That's our website. You see a lot of listing of the services that we talked about today. You can leave comments, ask questions, see some of the people that we're currently working with. So that's the first thing. You can find me on therestaurantclinic.com. Or, of course, you can go to restaurantowner.com. That's a website that has a lot of my information, articles, webinars on. And hopefully, you will listen to Corner Booth. Corner Booth is a podcast that shares stories of so many successful restaurant entrepreneurs out there today. So, one of those three avenues is a great way to connect with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, reach out to Chris, connect with Chris. It'll be a great thing, especially if you have interest in the restaurant business. Please go ahead and do that. Again, the authentic tip of this great interview: in life, you need to understand who you are trying to do business with. And the more you have information, data on your target client or potential target client avatar, the better position you're going to be in for your success, fulfillment, and sustainability. So please, if you're in the restaurant business, not where you want to be, if you're thinking about getting to the restaurant business, give Chris a reach out, give him a call. Again, my name is Marcus Ogden. I am the host of the Get Authentic with Marcus show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.